Hi everyone. I think because of time, we're just going to start. So I hope everyone is doing okay and having a good start to the last month of 2020. So today will also be a short one. For those who are able to join in on Saturday, we had a session on mapping using the ID editor, which is a web-based tool, and it's what a lot of people use when editing or working with OSM. So yeah, we went through that. It was led by one of us called James Magige. I think it was a very good session based on the feedback that we got. Um, and we also shared the slides for that particular.
Recording is on.
Sorry. Yeah, as I was just saying, and we are working on uploading the recording for that particular session. It should be up somewhere the course of this week. So for today, we'll just be going through another tool that is also commonly used. It's called JAWSM. In fully, it's Java based OpenStreetMap something. Yeah, but it's Java. The J is for Java, then the OSM is for OpenStreetMap, and the difference is it's just that it's a desktop application as compared to the ID editor. I had shared the link on the chat. It's not a big software package, so yeah. Once you follow the link, you'll find it. You'll find another link to download JAWSM, depending on the operating system that you're using. If it's Windows, if it's Mac, or a Linux-based system. So you can follow the link and download it, and then Zach will take it over. He'll be just doing a quick run through, and then we'll also share the slides in case you don't do. Maybe if you're going to do it on phone right now, you can follow through. Yeah. So without taking much time, I think Zach, you can go ahead and start.
Thank you so much, Laura. So, as Laura mentioned, for today we'll be going through another editing tool for contributing to OSM, which is JAWSM. So we'll just take you do like a quick run through the tool, so you can be able to see what are the other options that are there apart from editor, like which are the other editing tools that one can be able to use to contribute to OpenStreetMap. So I'll just share my screen, then you see. So let me know if you can see my screen, then we'll continue. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So for this, so as Laura had mentioned, she just shared a link to download the software. So I think maybe in between the session, I can have a chance to maybe download the software, and then once you run it, I'll just do like a demo, like basic editing using the tool. And then she mentioned there will be slides that will be shared that will also have like more notes on how to use the software. So basically I think both the tools, both ID and JAWSM, the functionality is the same. It's just basically adding like points of interest and adding linear features and polygon features on OSM. So the only difference is that the process is a bit different. So for ID editor, it's web-based, so you make whatever edits that you are making directly linked to the database. So the changes are just directly like reflected. So when you make a change, can be easily, once you make you do save, you'll be able to see the final edit like directly on the map. But now for JOSM it's a bit different. So it's like a software that you can be able to use separately. So it's not like directly interlinked with the database. So the process is a bit different. So for JOSM, you have to first download the data. So you download the data from the main server. Then once it's downloaded into the software, you can easily now make the edits. Then once you finish the edit, the next step is you upload. So the only advantage that JOSM has over ID is that you don't need internet like all the time. So as I mentioned, once you download the data, so there's the offline part where you can basically make edits without need of internet connection. So once I've downloaded like a specific area that I'm interested in working in, once I get the data, I can easily make edits. And unfortunately, if anything happens and there's no internet or there's power outage, then what it does, it has like an automatic save where you can save the file automatically. And then once you have power back, you can easily like restore your edit. Then the other part is that if you don't have internet, you can make the edits, then save the work, save the like save it in a like save it as a file. Then if you get a chance to have maybe access internet again, you can just load the file that you edited, then you can easily upload. So I think that's like the main difference. Other difference is that with JOSM, it also has like a lot of tools that enhances the functionality. So you can do a lot of, you can play around with the data with, using different tools. So there are a lot of people who are building tools that are making the work much easier. So with ID, it's just basic like basic editing tools and just minor small tools that you can make basic edits. But if you want to go into the complex editing, and then you can easily use JOSM. I wouldn't say at this moment I can't say like which one is better than the other, because it also depends with preference. So if you want to do basic edits, you can usually opt for ID editor. But if you want to play around with the data to do more edits and access different tools and plugins, then JOSM will be the best option. So it's all, I would say in this case, it's just preference. So there are people who prefer ID editor. There are those who prefer JOSM. So I've attended several hackathons, and there are people who would swear with JOSM. So they will, if you just tell them, will you use ID editor? They'll say, no, I prefer I prefer JOSM. There are those who swear also with ID editor. So it's all based on preference. So as I'd mentioned, so the other thing with JOSM, you can also, if for example you've done some mapping, data collection, and you want to edit your data and then upload it to OpenStreetMap, then you can easily do that. So it has also that functionality where you can add like external data, maybe from the field. Then you can easily do some edits, and then once you've done, you can directly upload to the server for OpenStreetMap. But in this case, I won't be going to that, so I'll just jump straight to like some of the tools that one can be able to use to edit and contribute to OpenStreetMap. So for this case, I'll just start with I'll just open like a new layer. So just show the like the base some of the editing tools. And then from there, I'll move to how now to download the data, then make edits, and then upload to OpenStreetMap. So remember from the previous training on ID editor, we had like three editing tools. So there was a one that could enable you to contribute the data in form of a point of interest. Then there was the other one for drawing lines, which represent roads either and rivers. Then we add the other one for area, which is basically for mapping buildings, and if you're mapping like compounds and playgrounds and any kind of polygon feature. But for JOSM, it's a bit different. So for JOSM, we only have like one tool that serves all the three does the three functions. So maybe if I jump to that, so on the top part here we have the menu shortcut. So you can easily change this. So if you like, there are some things that you like to just easily access without going to this whole process. This through this toolbar, you can easily like create shortcuts. They appear at the top here. So I'll just do like a demonstration. So if you want to download like a file, like data, so there's this part on the file part. So we have like download. So there are all these functionality that are here, like all these tools that I can use to either download data or make save the work that I'm working on. But I can also create like a shortcut. So that gives me a bit makes it easy to access all those tools without going through the long process of maybe going here and clicking on file and having to again scroll down to look for a specific like tool to use. So it can just like easily put all these things here as shortcuts. So depending also with the tools that you're using. So you can just play around with these to have like shortcuts to all those tools. Then on the left part, we also have the toolbar. So where we have the zoom tool, we have the delete, we have the drawing node. So all these features, like editing features, are all on the left side. Then we have the other tools like the layer validation. So we all this left side is just basically like the toolbar. So depending which tools that you want to use, they're all placed on the left side. Then on the right side, we have the information panel where, so for example, for this case, I've opened like a new layer. So this is saved here. So this way you get to all your layers that you're working on are placed here. Then we have with the tags, the tag panel where all the information about the specific feature. So whenever you add like a new tag, they are shown here. Then the other tools that you can also add on this other side. So if you want to see like the mini part of the map that I'm working on, you can add that. Then we have the validation panel. So if there's an error with the data, then this is where the errors will appear. So to just pop out, and then I can be able to see what are the issues and then be able to solve them. So I'll just jump straight to how to add like points of interest, and how to draw lines and to draw buildings using JOSM. So in this case, if I want to just select drawing node and to add like a point of interest. So what I just do is just click there, then automatically like a node is added. So if I want to add like a point of interest, so I just double click. Then once I double click, a point has been added. So you see that this is a bit different from the one that we add on ID. So the ID has like a marker. So it's just basically like a small node. So if I now want to define it, like add like specific information, I can be able to do that. So I'll be demonstrating that also. Then if I want to draw a line, so it's just like a sequence of of nodes. So just click there, and then click next, then click next, and then next, and then next. And once I come to the end, I just double click, and my line feature has been added. Then if I want to do like I want to draw a building, or I want to draw components, it's just same process as James had demonstrated. So just click there, then there, and there. Then I think that the part that is a bit different. So remember, for ID editor, James was saying that once you come to the end, you just click enter, and then it's you get to finish like the tracing. So for this one, you have to again go back to the starting point, then double click there, and that's when that specific feature get completed. So if I have to make sure that I've selected where I started exactly, and the only way also to know that this has been added, so it turns red. So that means like I've completed during that specific feature, which is the polygon feature. So you'll see when just click escape and then select. So in this case, I have a point. I've also drawn a line, and I've added a polygon which could represent a building. So you'll notice in this case, if I select that, there is no any information. So I can't upload this information because I have to specify like what exactly that feature is, and that's where the tags comes in. So tags gives like it like a clear, it basically describes what the feature is. So when you add like a specific tag, then automatically you'll see the node will change, and it will take the appearance of the description that you've given. Same with the line. If I select on it, then you see there are no tags attached to it. So that means that I can't upload this. And if I try uploading it, then even on the map, it will still appear like a blank because there's no specific information about that. Like someone can be able to understand what exactly I've added in the map. Same with the polygon. So the other difference with JOSM compared to ID is that in this case, remember on ID, if you just finish adding like a point, there was a pop-up that will appear on the left side, which will enable you to add like tags for that specific feature. But for JOSM, it's a bit different. So it's like the process has to be like a bit manual. So in this case, on JOSM, we have what we call presets. So presets are basically like tags that people have been able to agree on that could be used to map out different features. So you find like so if I want to tag like a school, then there's a specific tag that people have been able to agree that has like a combination of different tags that represent information about school. So if I want to tag restaurant, then there are tags that have been agreed on. So there's always a process of tags, creating tags where people agree, it's documented. Then once it's documented, there's a process of voting in like a new tag. Then also I think with time, if a tag people feel like it become obsolete, then there's also another process of where people vote it out, so it's no longer in use. So in this case, I'll just maybe say I want to tag the point that I've added. Maybe say it's a school. So you see the moment I click on preset, there's a drop down that appears with different tags. So if this was a road, then I'll just specifically use tags for highways, which in this case are road. If it was a river, then or a water feature, then I'll use that. So if it's transport, then you see that all these tags are specifically for transport. So if there's one for railway, there's one for railway, so then one for specifically for cars or motorcycles, and then bicycles. So there are different tags like you can be able to use. So the only disadvantage is that this process is a bit, as I mentioned, it's a bit manual compared to ID where I can just easily add the point and then search, like just do like a search and then it automatically brings you the specific tag. So for this case, I'll just go to facility, then I'll scroll the side and move to education because that's where tags for school is. So you'll see there's a tag for kindergarten, there's a tag for school, a tag for university, tag for college, and one for driving school. So in this case, I'll just want to tag this as a school. I'll just select that. Then remember, as I mentioned, so there are different, like it's a combination of different tags that will give like a specific description about that feature. So I'll just say, so the name, I'll say it's Olympic Primary. Then operator, in this case, I'm not sure who the operator is, so I'll just leave it blank because I'm not sure who the operator is. Then opening hours, if I know the opening hours of the school, so I'll just say maybe it's Monday to Friday from 9 to 5. Do I know if the school has like a is it accessible by wheelchair? I'm also not sure. So I'll just leave that as blank. So once I've added the information that I'm sure about, I just click apply. And then you'll see now all the information that I've added are now appearing on the tag panel. So this feature is a school. The name of the school is Olympic Primary, and the opening hours is there, indicated there. So just see how that has made it different. So you see now, if I zoom in, I get to see now it has like an icon also attached to it now, which specifies that this is a school feature. So one can be able to say tell that this is a school feature. If I zoom in further, you get to also see the name also appears here. So that's how we can be able to add tags on using JOSM. So I just then I will select the road, and can you see there's no information added here. So again, I'll just go to preset and go to highway, then street, then I'll just choose whether so which kind of road feature it is. So if it's not falling under this, then I'll just scroll below. Maybe I'll say this is just a footpath. Select that, so you'll see again there's a list of like opens like a new tab that gives me the ability to add like more information about that feature. So in this case, I'll just leave it as it is. I don't have any other information about that. So I'll just click apply preset. So if I click apply preset, automatically you'll see now on the tag panel, you'll see there's new information that is appearing there. And yeah, so this new information that is appearing there, that will also change the appearance of the feature. So you see now it has like dotted line. So if I upload this information, so someone can easily interpret and understand that this is a footpath. If I use something different, then we'll just show that, we'll demonstrate that. So let's say maybe this one was let's say it was a primary road. So just select primary road, and you'll see also the appearance will be a bit different compared to the one that I added before. So if I click apply, so you see this one, it has like a different color, and also the stroke of the line, the width, it's a bit heavy compared to the other one. So you see that like the appearance basically looks a bit different from the other one. So every tag has like a different appearance, how it's projected on the map. So everyone will appear differently based on the how the feature has been described. So then I'll just do the last one, then I'll do another demonstration of how now to edit directly, maybe from open downloading the data directly from OpenStreetMap, then making edit. So in this case, I'll say and assume this is a building. So I'll just come again to preset, then check preset for building. So I'll just scroll down, try to check which tag could fit for a building. So in this case, I'll just check on man-made. In the man-made, so there's all these tags. So there's one for building that we are using on ID. So it's just a building, and don't know any more information about it. You just tag it as building. If it's a residential building, you can select you can tag it as a residential building. It's just a building part. You can also do that. So there are different tags that are there for features that are either that fall under a category of man-made. So things that have been built or constructed. So in this case, I'll just choose building, and in this case, I just say building. It's yes. So I don't know specifically what it is. So I'll just say it's I'll just leave it as building equals to yes. Do I know the name of the building? No. Do I know the level? I also don't know that. So just click on apply preset. I love how my building mapped as just as a building without any more information. I think at that moment I'll just jump to demonstrating how now to download the data from OpenStreetMap, then doing edits, and then. But before I go to that, does anyone have any question? Before, or am I moving too fast? In case you have any question, you can ask. Is there any question so far?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, yes. There is a question I posted on the chat box.
Okay. Okay. So, is that after creating a feature, e.g. point online, how do you leave the editing mode in order to select and create a tag for it? Okay. So, yeah. So I'll just demonstrate that. So, for example, if I want to draw another building, so I'll just come and select drawing node, then I'll do a building, then I'll double click here. Then once I've added the building, so basically on the keyboard you just click on escape, then that gives you option to draw like another feature. So once you've drawn like a feature and you want to draw something else, then you just click on escape. Then if I want now to tag the building, so for example I've already finished drawing the building and then now I want to tag it, so just come back to the editing panel here and I'll click on the first one, which is the select tool. So once I click on that, now that gives me the ability to be able to select on a specific feature. So for example, if I wanted to tag this building, and then I just click on it, and then I've selected it, and now I can be able to now like add specific tags for it. And if I want to move to something else, so just again click escape, then and select it. And then if I want to draw another feature, and then I just come back again to the drawing mode. But there are also shortcuts. So if you look at it, then you can be able to see there are also shortcuts that are there. So if you want to select the drawing node, so just on the keyboard you just click on A, then you get to select now the drawing node. Then on the select tool, so if I want to now, maybe for example I've selected the drawing node and I've finished drawing, and I want to now select the feature, so just click on S, then it automatically switches the tool to select. So now I can be able to select or use that tool for that specific function. So I think that's how you do it. So this, if you want to draw, you just click on the drawing node, then you add. Then if you want to finish, once you finish drawing the feature, just click on escape. Then once you click on escape, you can be able now to draw like a new feature, or if you want to select, you can basically click on select, and then you can be able to select the feature and add the tags. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And maybe just to ask, is there any particular direction you need to follow while drawing? Like, for example, you go clockwise or anti-clockwise?
I think for this case, I think James had mentioned in the previous training. So it's, if you're doing buildings, it's just best to go clockwise. So if I'm starting from here, just go clockwise and then go back to where I started. So you just go clockwise. So I think he gave some reason why. Actually, I also go just go clockwise, but it's best to, yeah, I think it's advisable to go to draw moving clockwise. I also see another question from Cassandra. Why didn't we have a map for this editing? So when I started, I just said, so I added like a new layer, which it's not directly even connected to OpenStreetMap. So this was just specifically for demonstration. So for the next part, that's where I was going to demonstrate now how to add a map from OpenStreetMap. So for this demonstration, I just added like a new layer. So just went here on the file, just added a new layer. So this was just specifically for demonstration. So it's like whatever I added here, I can still upload it because if I want to upload it, then I have to download the map so that the data that I've added here is synced with the already existing features that are in that area. Then once they're synced, that's when you're able to upload. So this was just for demonstration. That's why you are not seeing the map. Then can you change the scale from feed to other? Yeah, I think there's that option. I think below here you can be able to. So there are tools that you can be able to make those changes. Like if you want to change the units, you can be able to do that. So as you can see below here, I think in case I think it's meters. So yeah, it's possible to do that. So yeah, question from Damaya. So it's possible to change the scale. So there's a specific tool that you can use to make these changes. Just that I can't remember where exactly because it has like a lot of tools. So maybe I can check when you move to the Mapathon. I can check, then I'll be able to show you. You can just quickly before you finish the session, I can show exactly. You can be able to get that and change that. Any other question? So if there are no any questions, so I'll just move to the other part. So in this case, I've just demonstrated how to add the features. So I'll just now move to how to now edit like features on OpenStreetMap. So I'll just remove this layer because I don't need it anymore. So I'll just delete it. Then I'll come to this arrow, the green arrow that that faces downwards. It's the one for download. So if you want to download data from OpenStreetMap server, so that's the one that you use to download data. So it's there's a shortcut here, and also you can also find it here when you click on file, and then download data. You can be able to also download it from there. So I'll just click on download. Then you'll notice, as I mentioned, this is a bit different. So it will bring me the map of OpenStreetMap. So now I have to select like which specific area I want to make my edit. So the same area that that James did last week, which is JQuat. This place, I think it's JQuat. Oh yeah, it's JQuat. So once I've zoomed into the specific area I want to go, like rectangle, download data within this area. So sometimes issue of edits and trying to reduce the number of errors that people will make. They have reduced the area, so sometimes you'll select an area and then when you try to download it, it'll tell you the area is too big. So you have to again maybe choose like a small area. So I'll just try to assume this is not so big. So this is the area that I would like to download. And if I'm working in this place over a period of time, so I can also bookmark the place. So I can create like a bookmark. So next time that I'm downloading the data, instead of coming again back here and drawing this triangle to specify the area, I can easily just click like create like a bookmark where so that the next time I'm downloading the area, I don't need to go take the long path. So just maybe demonstrate this. I'll just see this is big works. I'm hoping that area won't be so big. So I'll just click on that. So I've created this bookmark. So I can either download directly from here or I can just easily go to to the bookmark. Then the other thing is, yeah, so this is from, so you can also, if I want to just directly download data from OpenSnake, I can do that. If I want to, if there are raw GPS data that are there for that are within this area, I can also do that. So I can just select like raw GPS data that someone maybe uploaded for that specific area. I can also look at notes that people have left for that area, but in this case, I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in the data from OpenStreetMap. So I'll just leave it there. Just yeah. So I'll just, so once I've specified the area that I want to download, so I'll just click on download. Then it will start pulling the data. It was big, it won't go that far. It will just have sent me an error message saying that that the area is too big. So this is the JQuat. So I'll just zoom into the area that James was working on before. So I can, so here is ICAD, and these are the buildings this time. Then there are the trees that James was also demonstrating and the previous exercise. So before I proceed to now maybe making the edit, the next thing I want to do is I want to look at the image, like add like an imagery of that area. So just next to the preset, we have the imagery. So if I click on the imagery, then can be able to see like the different images that are there. So there's Bing, there's Esri. So in this case, I'll just choose Maxa. So again, layer panel. So now I have the data that I've downloaded and also have imagery. So just zoom in again. Check if there's a building that is here that has not been marked. So maybe we can, yeah, we can use to trace that tracing. Then I'll click on select. Then I'll select the building that I've just traced. And then come to preset. And now describe what the building is. So in this case, I'll just say it's a building because I'm not so sure what whether it's a what exactly it is. So just leave it as building as equals to yes. Then click apply. So you also notice maybe I'll undo this. So you also notice the difference is that when I've not tagged the building, remember on ID it appears like a bit white. White means the building has not been tagged. Then when it appears in red, it means the building has been tagged. So for Josam, it's a bit different. So I'll just build a line. So the line will appear gray, meaning that the building has not been tagged. And if I tag the building, then you see the appearance will change. So to turn red, so you'll see now it will appear in red. It's a bit different compared to the other one. So you see like there's a shading that appears just next to the line, meaning that the building has been has been tagged. So that's how you know building has been tagged. And if it doesn't have, if it's just in gray, then that means that building has not been tagged. So once I've added that building, so I'll just click upload. So you remember when I was downloading the data, I was just downloading it from OSM servers. Then now I've been able to, at this point when I'm doing this edit, I can easily like, apart from maybe when I need to use the imagery, but if I'm doing like edits, basic edits, then there's no internet, then that means I can still be able to do my edits. But then once I've finished and I want to save the file, I can easily just click on save, then I can upload it later. But in this case, I'll just maybe just upload it directly. So we have two types of upload. So this the mass upload which combine everything that you've edited. So remember on ID, every time you do like an edit, it adds like a number showing the number of edits that you've done. Unfortunately, here on JOSM, it doesn't show. It only appears when you're uploading. So I can easily just click on upload if I want to upload. So I'll assume this is the entire work that I've done. So I'll just click on upload. Then it will show that I've added like 4 nodes and building. So it also counts like the nodes. So I'm showing that on the corner, I've added the nodes. And also now all of them now make up like a building. Then maybe something I forgot to mention is what James also explained last time, that it's also good to always square this. So once I've selected this, I'll just press Q, and then Q will just it's kind of like square the corners of the building. So So Q is just a shortcut, but if I want to go, unfortunately, the process for JOSM is also a bit long. So I can also come to tools and just, but it's a bit long. To organize the shape, so just squares the, basically like squares the building. So if I'd move this a bit and just select the building again, I come here, I'll just click on this, then automatically squares the corners. So it gives it like a proper square. It squares the corners of the polygon. So once I've done that, James also reminded us it's also good to do that. So just click upload. Then you'll see there's also the part of providing like a brief comment. So I tried playing around with I'm forgetting that project for South Sea. So that's why you're seeing this appearing. So but basically here you can also add like a comment. If you're not working on a specific task, you can just add like a comment, like say added like a building or added like a point of interest. Or it's always advisable to always leave a comment here so that whoever is doing validation or having a look at the data after, be able to know what exactly you are working on. And then I think some of these things have been picked directly from the task. So I'll just, once I've make sure that I've done that, I'll just click on upload, change, upload. Then you'll see it start the process of uploading that feature. So as I mentioned, you can do like mass upload, like all the features that you've mapped. But if you want to upload specific, like a specific feature that you added, then can easily, let me just, seems like all the buildings in JKUAT have been marked. So there's another one here node. Then click escape and select the feature again and make sure that it's squared properly. Then instead of now using the mass upload, I just can easily specify, let's say I want to upload specifically like the point that has been selected. So if I want to specifically upload just this point alone, then I can just come here. Then it tells you to upload all the changes that are associated with that specific feature that has been selected. So if I click on that again, just show that these are the features that I've selected. Then click on continue. You'll see it has brought me an error, meaning that I forgot to tag that building. So those are the kind of errors that you get. Then you'll see on the validation part, it has picked that error. So you'll see it's untagged with. So I'll just go to presets and click on building, then say it's building yes. Then because this error has been picked, so just make sure that there's not no other error. I'll just click on validate. So it will just make sure that there's no other error that is associated with that feature. So I don't think it's any, because now there's no any error appearing here. So again, I'll just go back to upload and then click continue. Then you'll notice now I didn't bring that error, so it just takes me directly to add a comment, and I'll just click on upload, and that building will be uploaded. So now being able to add 2 buildings. I'm trying to see if I can move to the task manager now to use JOSM. Select the drain node again. Yes. No, I don't have any option of searching. So I'll just go to geography, nature, then go there. Oh, yeah. So just went to geography, then went to nature. And luckily, to get the tree. So again, you'll see all this information appears here. I don't know all those information, so just click apply. So it will just add just the tag for tree alone, but with no other information. Then you'll notice there's still this line that is appearing, meaning I forgot to click escape to stop the drawing like any or adding any kind of feature. So this is another common error that people make on JOSM. So you find like you added a point and forgot to click escape. So if I try adding another tree, you'll see it will now appear like as if I'm doing a road. So it's usually advisable that once you finish, so when I just finished, so when it was appearing here and still this is still appearing, so the best thing to do is just click on escape, and that means I've stopped adding any other feature. So this won't be connected. So if I had proceeded with adding new points, then what will have would mean is that this tree is connected to this tree because I've somehow connected them. So that's another error. So it's usually advisable to check that if this appears, then you just click on escape, then that means that you stopped, and whatever feature you're going to add after that, they are not connected in any way. So you just come and click on select, then say I want to just upload specifically that feature that I've selected, and it'll appear here showing this is the feature that I'm I'm adding to OSM. And again, it will appear here, and then it will ask for a comment. So the comment is being picked automatically because of the task that I had selected. And then you can also pick this. So I just click on upload. Then yeah, so I've been able to add now that feature to OpenStreetMap. So I don't know if there's any other question before I move now to the tasking manager. Any question? I jump quickly. Laura, we're back in how many minutes so that I also don't take long, because I know we're supposed to do like a small mapathon. Laura, how many time do I have? Any question before I proceed to are we together, so that I also don't rush through the process and you miss a lot of things. Any question or anything that you'd like maybe for me to just go back and demonstrate again? And assume, so just assume there's no question, so just proceed to tasking manager. And I don't think I'll take so much here because James explained how it works and how to add like specific tasks that are there. So just directly maybe demonstrate how now to use JOSM, how to map the task using JOSM. Okay, move this up here. So I've already signed in and I'm already on the task. So please remember the instructions are already here. So it's always good to go through the instruction. And in this case, I'll just, so remember in the previous training, this appeared like as the default editor. Just so it's left as a default because most people prefer ID editor. But if you want to use JOSM, so you'll just click on that, then select that the editor that I want to use is JOSM. And then before I proceed, I'll just go back and demonstrate something else. So as I mentioned, JOSM works mostly like it's like it's not unlike ID editor, which is directly connected to the OSM base map because it's based on the web map. This one is more like a software. So whatever work you're doing, you have to pull the data first from the server, and then once you've done the edits, then that's when you get to upload whatever changes you've made. So in this case, it's just basically like this is like a secondary tool that's not like directly interlinked with the server. So in this case, what I want to do is create like a remote connection with in the software and the tasking manager. So we just come to maybe just demonstrate again. So I'll just come to edit, then scroll below and select preferences. So this is where I want to make like I just make sure that it's going to be because it's supposed to bring you first to other tools that you can be able to use. But anyway, specifically, I don't know what's going to be because it's supposed to take me first to another list. So it moves to somewhere else. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay. So there are different, like these are like basically like settings that you can setting for JOSM. Uh, so the setting for display, if you want to change the display, if you connection. So for example, if I want to sign in, to specifically to JOSM, so that whatever changes I make directly appear on my account, then I can be able to come here and make those changes. So there are different settings that are here that you can use to change how the software appears and how you like it to operate based on preferences. So in this case, I'll just click on the remote control. Then it's already enabled, so I'll just most of the time you find it's not enabled, so you just click on enable. Then I'll click on OK. So what I've just done is basically I've created communication between JOSM and the tasking manager. So if I select a task here and I say I want to map it, so it will just automatically like download the data directly from the tasking manager to JOSM. Then I can be able to make my edits there and then upload. So once I've changed this, so you see also the imagery has been set to, you see it has been so I'll just click on JOSM to change it so that I can be able to use JOSM. So I've changed to JOSM. Then once I click map selected task, you'll see on this tab here for JOSM, you'll see this. It will start blinking, meaning that it's pulling the data from remotely from the tasking manager and to add it on the software here. So just click that. So try that again. No, it's just so the task has not been locked, so I have to maybe choose another task. So I'll just choose another task and make sure that it's still in the editor JOSM. So I'll just click map selected. Again, you see there's a pop-up here, and just the same way with just the same with the ID editor. So there's like a square that will appear here, meaning this is the area that is required to. Sorry, now all the downloads that I was doing are now coming in now. Maybe select. So you can see the square is here. So for JOSM it appears grayish, and for ID it was appearing purplish. So this means that I have to specifically concentrate in this square. So just try to zoom in and see if there's any. So remember the instruction was to map buildings and roads. So just try to check if there's any building. I think this is a playground. So then and So what I just do, I'll drawing node and just try to draw this road from here and then cut it through to this side. Sorry, do that again. So click on that and add here, and then click escape, and then select, and then select that road. So what I've just basically I've just tried to draw the road within this area. So whoever will select this square on this other side will continue drawing the road going this side, and whoever will select a square on this other side will also be able to. So remember, as Laura mentioned, that the purpose of the tasking manager is basically to coordinate the mapping. So that's to ensure that there are no duplication or people are not editing in the same place at the same time. So I'll just leave the road as much as it appears a bit tiny. So just draw here up to here. Then whoever will select this square will also pick up from here and continue. So that's now it also brings the aspect of community where different people can be able to contribute. So people are picking up from what someone else did and able to continue. And I think that's the only feature that is on this side. So I'll just come to preset and say, I'll say this is unclassified road because let's leave it as unclassified. Then click apply. So you'll see there's no information that has appeared here. This is a highway is equals to unclassified. So once I've done that, I'll just other thing maybe I forgot to mention is you see also what it did. It combined. So instead of going back and selecting imagery, so it somehow picked the data plus the imagery. So you can see the imagery is here. The imagery that was set up to be used here. On the tasking manager, it's also picked both. So I didn't have to go again and changing the imagery because it came like a package. So I had the data plus the imagery plus the specific area that I am assigned to work in. So you'll see that also comes. It's like it all come together. So once I've added that, I'll just click on. I don't know. Let's see what has happened. Sorry, I forgot to mention this. This is the only tricky part of JOSM. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So once I added this, I think the next thing that I was supposed to do was to download. No, because that's why I can't upload, and you find like the road is already. Yeah, so I think this is why people don't prefer JOSM because it's a bit complicated. Because just download the area, right? There's already a road existing. So once I pull down the specific area I want to map, and I think the next step in this case you're supposed to like download data so that you can be able to see what is already existing, so you don't add something that is already there. So in this case, I don't think I need to add anything. Sorry, I forgot. I think this is a challenge of choosing. Yeah, so I think the road is already there that I was trying to add. The playfield has also been mapped, so that means there's nothing new to map here. So I'll just leave it as it is, and then I'll go back to the task, and I'll just say yes because there's nothing new to map there. So task. It's fully, let's say the task is fully mapped. Yes. So there's nothing new to add there. And then I'll submit the task. Now that will be mapped as completely mapped. So I think that's the process. Josam for the first time for the tasking manager. So the first step is just to come to ID, to edit, then preference, then switch on the remote control so that there's a connection between the software and the tasking manager so that you can be able to pull on the specific task into JOSM. Then the other thing maybe I forgot to mention is if it's your first time, it's also good to sign in. So to sign in, you just come to a new access token. Then it will ask you for the ones that you used to create an account for OpenStreetMap. So just put in your username and password. Then once you've done that, you just click authorize now. Yeah. So then you just click accept token, and that's it. So that means now on JOSM, I've set my account. So the work that I've been doing here and uploading to OpenStreetMap will all appear on my account. Yeah, so, and you'll notice if it's your first time and you don't sign in, it will also, when you try to upload, it will also take you back to that place. So the first thing to do when you have already installed your JOSM, is just sign in on the software, and then once you've signed in, if you want to use it for to do the task, then just switch on the remote control, and that's it. I think from there you'll be good to go and ready to use. Then always remember, when if you want to use ID, it's always you just switch here. So where it's written ID editor, and you want to switch to JOSM, you just click on JOSM. Yeah, so that's all. I don't think any other thing. And I don't know if there's any question. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so there's a question from Sheila. Can you edit an already done project by someone else? Yeah, so yes, you can do that. So if the person who was mapping that task, maybe on the tasking manager, they didn't complete it and they left it as incomplete, then yes, someone else can be able to pick up on that and be able to make more edits. And in terms of adding like new features, yes, it's also possible. So for example, as I mentioned, when I was doing the school, so just new information about the name of the school and the opening hours. So if someone else has more information or knows more about the specific feature, then yes, they can be able to contribute and add on top of what someone has already been, someone has already done. So yeah, it's possible to. For the tasking manager, I think it has to be open. So you realize whenever you select a task, it's locked. So that's just basically to avoid like two people working on the same task at the same time. But once that person has finished working on that task and maybe they didn't be able to pick up again and continue with whatever someone was working on. Then please go through the process of downloading the offline map. Can that think I'll just delete all this. And then, so once when you open up JOSN, so this is the first page that appears. So if you have like a specific area that you are interested in mapping, and then just so just come to file, and then click on download. So it's a long process, but you can also create like shortcuts. You can add shortcuts. So instead of going through the long process, you can just have it placed here. So you can easily just click on that. Then once select that area, like selected to download, so you can zoom out and maybe try to find like the specific area that, so you'll see here this is a base map for OpenStreetMap. So if I want to, I was demonstrating using jQuat, so you just scroll to jQuat. Zoom into jQuat. Here, then I'll draw. So I'll have to draw like a rectangle. So this rectangle just basically like that this is the area that I would like to download, and this is the area that I'm interested in working in. So once you draw that rectangle, basically all this information that is within this boundary, the one that will be downloaded, and anything else that is outside will not be downloaded. So what I'll be seeing on the software will just be whatever is inside this within this rectangle. Then I also demonstrated that if you are working in that area and you want to do if you are working specifically in that area and you'll be doing more edits and you already specified it, easily like bookmark it. So just come again, just create a bookmark. Then when you create bookmark, you can just name it. So for example, quad, and yeah, using the bookmark. So once I don't have to go back to the sleepy map again to download that specific area within that bounding box. It is a bit big and it has a lot of data, and attempts to just bring an error that the area is too big, so you have to like get like a smaller area. So as you can see, so I've pulled the data for that area, but lines, so that means I can only work within this area that I downloaded, so I can't be able to work outside here because I just specifically specified that I want to work here and just pull data in this area. So the rectangle that I drew, so I just pull data from that area specifically. Then if I want to and select another area to download data for that area. Then, oh, so there's another question, where do you enable remote control? So you come to, and if you scroll below, you'll see preferences settings. So just come to edit, then scroll to preferences, then you select that. Then yeah, so to bring in just below the data validator, so the one that looks like a mobile phone with some signals, so that's the remote control feature. So you select on that, then for the first time it will be enabled, so you have just to enable it. So just click on that, then it will be enabled. Then something else I also added is you can also add it like if you want to add like different layers, so you can just select every time you add the data, you can just add them as a new layer. So I'll check that, but you can remove that so that it doesn't have to every time to open like a new layer. So I'll just uncheck that. So it's just here. So you just come to edit, and then in preferences. Then it tells us like shortcuts. So if you want to use shortcuts, yeah, it says the shortcut for that on the keyboard is F12. So it will just bring you to that. Don't know if there's any other question. Any other question? No question, I think then I hand over to Laura. I think there was a link that was shared for those who joined later. There's a link in the chat for downloading JOSM. So you can click on it, then you can be able to download JOSM. Then the process of downloading it will also request for you to, if you don't have like the latest Java, then it will ask for that. If you already have it, then it won't. So it's just like those are the only two things that will require. So the setup and maybe updating your Java, and then I think that's all. Then you'll have the software ready. I mean, yeah, Laura has already responded to that. Laura, I think no other questions, so I'll hand over back to you. The next part. Laura.
Oh, sorry. I was still on JOSM,
Okay.
looking at some of the things. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you can hear you.
Yeah. So yeah, as I shared today, there's also a short one, and I think that has had like a quick introduction to JOSM and like some of the advantages of the ID editor. Yeah, but I guess but both tools are similar. They're the same in a way. It's just that one is online and the other is a desktop application. Although JOSM has more functionalities, as Zach had shared, even when you're getting now into things like data validation, I think it's usually easier to validate using JOSM as compared to the ID editor. And then when you're doing also things like imports, so when you already have a huge data set and you are following the data import guidelines to OpenStreetMap, yeah, you will have to use JOSM at some point. So today we're just covering the basics, like basically how it looks like, how you can load up directly from the tasking manager, basically how to get started with it, and I hope we have been able to grasp that. I had shared link to JOSM on the chat, so okay. If you're using Windows, you might be asked to download Java, which yes, it will direct you to another link, but yeah, it's still doesn't tell you anything. So just download the exe and then run it, and then come back again and run Java. It's usually very light, so it's not like other JS desktop applications that require a lot of RAM and such. Does not have it's not a heavy software. So if you're using from Windows and ask you to solve them, I just follow the links and download it if you want to. Yeah, but in case you find it too complex, I can, especially for the first time, yeah, you can give it another run. I will also share some slides of the steps, the step guideline on how to use JOSM in case you didn't get some parts clearly, or you just need to remember something of the sort. So something I think that I've also gone through, and there are no other questions. I think we can call it a day. Yeah, because initially I thought we'd do 1 hour, and then yeah, but even after this, on your free time, you can contribute to the task that I actually for. I thought that you're using like on Saturday as well for it's using on Saturday for what do you call it? For the session on mapping with ID editor. It's just created for training purposes for this book. It's so it's a bit different, not different. Some areas or some things have been mapped, but also a lot of things are not. A lot of those things are not well mapped. So yeah, feel free to make any edits, and then I think also is somebody is reviewing contributions. So feel free to play around with the project and contribute as you see, and then you will be able to receive feedback from her on your mapping. So then I guess the last thing, just a reminder, is we had last week we had shared the trainee agreement on email. It's a Google form, so just ask you to, if you agree with everything that you've listed, if you can submit it. So yeah, if you haven't, please do so. Yeah, and then I guess we'll meet on Thursday when yeah, we'll be having a session on data quality, data validation, and accuracy. Yeah. So between anytime when you're free, feel free to do some mapping on the project, and then someone will be able to review and give feedback on the same. Yeah, and if you have any questions on mapping on ID or JOSM, feel free to ask in the group, or even directly to Zach or to anyone. Then you'll be able to get help. Yeah. So once again, once we upload upload this recording, we'll share the video with everyone. So yeah, I think that will be it. I think I've mentioned everything. Yeah. So for this week, I think I also shared the schedule So today was on Thursday. So we're doing like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, like we're skipping one day. So yeah, Thursday be data quality validation, and then Saturday I guess you should have an open. So the aim is to sort of finish mapping that project for South Sea. So that next week, which will be the last week for this program for 2020, we'll do mobile contribution, so using mobile app to ourselves, and then we'll have a panel session. Yeah, and then yeah, we'll have mobile contribution, then we'll have mapping with AI. So looking at how artificial intelligence is being used to support mapping of the station, and then we should have a panel at the end of next week. That should be it for 2020. Then we come back in January. In mid-January, we'll finish off the training program by diving into the project. We'll be mapping health facilities in Nairobi. Yeah, so yeah, just share that timeline as well. So next week will be the last one for 2020 for this year. So yeah, so I think that's it. Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to in the group. Yeah, if you have any issues, any problems, then if it's installation or nothing, you should ask. That's what you can help you. Yeah, then, or lastly, kabisa, I just have a link for a conference on Friday. Yeah, so if you're free, you can join. I think there's some slots available for a conference. Yeah, so if you're interested in learning more about the STEM community, also if you're just interested in learning more about Hot SM as an organization, feel free to attend. I guess it will also be a good point if you're looking to network with people in the SM world and all that. Yeah, so I feel free as well to register. Don't be scared if you're a beginner or such. I think that the other sessions will be more applications as opposed to technical sessions. Yeah. Without nimesema vitu mingi, so I think that is it for today. Yeah, kwaherini and good night.